Hey, what's up everybody? Zach here, and we're going to go over a quick video that has been requested by a few of my subscribers and a few of my viewers regarding this puppy right here, the control panel for the Pit Boss Pro Series 2 Vertical. And so what I want to do is just kind of go over how to use this to optimize your experience as a pit master and to help you elevate yourself all the way up to the next level, and then maybe even to right here. So stick around, we're gonna get to that right now. What you need to know is that what you have here at your disposal is something that will really take a lot of the guesswork and a lot of the mistakes out of your cooking if you utilize it. It's such a powerful tool to use once you understand it. It's so simple. And I'm gonna go into detail in this video. We're gonna start off with the less complex components of this controller. We're gonna work our way into the more complex features that once you understand them, they're actually easy to use and will really improve your barbecue game, not just for yourself, but for the people that you cook for. You're gonna be impressing them, and guess what? You're gonna impress yourself. Stick around. All right, so let's get into the basics here as far as your control panel is concerned. This is located on the side of this unit. It's one of the first models that Pit Boss has made that puts it on the side of the unit, which really is a great improvement because the old control panels were at the front and bottom of the unit and just got ash and grease and all sorts of stuff all over them. And I think that most everybody is pretty happy to see this improvement. What we've got here is you've got your control knob, you've got your display. At the bottom, you've got two meat probe outlets. This is meat probe 1, this is meat probe 2. Meat probe 1 is programmable, which means that you can use it to control your pit and eliminate errors that typically happen when making barbecue. In my experience, one of the biggest problems with making barbecue is just human error, forgetting or spending more time away from the pit than you thought you did, or getting caught up in something and forgetting to check it, that sort of thing. And this really helps to eliminate those types of problems. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is your control knob. This is your power button. These controls are very sensitive. You don't have to really press them real hard or anything. Once you turn your pit on, you want to make sure that you open up your cabin door as per Pit Boss's instructions. And so that's going to start firing up. What you're going to see when you initially turn this on is you're going to see that the fan is running, you're going to see that the igniter is on, and eventually you're going to start to see the auger kick in. And that auger is going to be what feeds pellets to the igniter and what allows your unit to fill with smoke and begin to heat up. The basics that we're going to look at here, this is your meat probe temp, this is your second meat probe temp. Once again, this is meat probe 1. This is the programmable meat probe. This is the temperature of your smoke chamber. If you ever need to replace or work on or clean or fix your internal thermometer, you can access that right here. This is the power button. This is Mpc Prime. This is your Fahrenheit, Celsius, and this is your recipe. And we're gonna get into all that. So you can see that this is going to start to adjust as this thing fires up. You can see that the auger has kicked on. Now, if you see this icon right here, this means that you have the app on your phone and is connected to your smoker, and your smoker is connected to Wi-Fi. That's just stuff that you can do pretty easily, and I highly recommend that you do that if you're interested in keeping up with your pit from a distance. But a lot of the tips and tricks that I'm going to show you right here are going to be things that kind of take the need to monitor it away a little bit. You know, this is your Mpc Prime button. If you are in a situation where you want to heat this unit up faster, or you want to increase the internal temp of the chamber, say like you have multiple things cooking in your pit and one of the things is done, like say you've got chicken and some ribs going and that chicken's gotten ready and you want to take it out, but you don't want to lose a lot of heat and mess up the cooking of your ribs. So what you would do is you would hold this and it forces that auger to feed more pellets. And what that's going to do as the fan blows over those pellets and ignites them is it's going to create fast increase in heat, and it's going to allow you to open the door without having to worry about losing quite as much heat for the stuff that you've got going. And so since that auger was already on, I'm just going to show you, just press and hold it. and the auger is going to come on. The longer you hold it, the longer the auger will push pellets in. You can also press this button and it activates the control area of your Meat Probe 1, which allows you to control that meat probe. You've got about 4 to 5 seconds before that turns off. Let me close my door. We got some smoke rolling, baby. So let's say that I am cooking a Boston butt. I've got this thing rolling at 225 or 250 degrees to cook that Boston butt, and you're busy around the house or you're in town or something like that, and you do not want the internal temperature of that Boston butt to exceed 205 degrees. What you would do, press that button, then you turn that up to 205 degrees, hit the button again, and now that's locked in. And so what's gonna happen is as that meat approaches 205 degrees and it hits its mark, the meat probe is automatically going to turn the temp of this smoker down to 180 degrees so that your food stays nice and hot, but no longer elevates the internal temp of that Boston butt. So it stays just where you want it, even if you're not around checking it constantly. So it's really a fail-safe. And that's just a great, great feature that Pit Boss has incorporated into this control panel. Next, let's say you're from another part of the world, other than the South where I'm from, and you don't like Fahrenheit. Press this button. Now we are working in Celsius, and that's just an option that you have available to you. I'm from the South, we use Fahrenheit, so that's what I keep it on. Now this is a very interesting button right here. This is your recipe button, and this is something that your skill and your knowledge will allow you to program this thing to do all the work for you. But you gotta know what to do in order to get the results that you want. If you do your research before you cook, you'll know how to do it. And I'll show you how to get this thing to do all the work. All right, so we're gonna be cooking a spatchcock chicken in this example. And what I like to do is I like to cook it for about an hour on the smoke, and then I like to bump it up to 300 for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it takes to start getting that internal temperature up around 150, 155 in the breast. And then what I like to do is I like to bump it up to 350, 400 and finish it off for about 30 minutes to an hour to make sure that the fat renders out of that chicken skin and gets kind of crispy and has a really good bite through. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this recipe option to program the cooker to take care of all that effort for me. So what I'm gonna show you here is how to make the Pit Boss controller take care of all the work for you on what some might consider a somewhat complicated cook. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn how to use the recipe button. The recipe button is probably the most complicated aspect of the control panel, and it's something that I get the most questions about. And so in our example today, we're going to be cooking a spatchcock chicken, and what we're going to do is we are going to start off the way I always do, with 1 hour on the smoke setting. Then we're going to go to 300 degrees for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then we're going to finish up at 400 degrees to make sure that we render out the fat from the chicken skin, crisp it up a little bit, and create a really nice bite through. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go through those steps pretty quickly, and I'm gonna explain what I'm doing along the way. So I wanna start off with 1 hour on the smoke setting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit recipe, I'm on P1, I am going to click the knob, I'm gonna take it to 1 hour, I'm gonna click the knob again to get out of the minutes, then I'm gonna leave it on the smoke setting. Click again for my second step. I'm gonna go to P2, I'm gonna click it, I'm gonna go to 2 hours, I'm gonna get out of the minutes, I'm gonna go up to 300 degrees, I'm gonna click it again, I'm gonna change it to my third setting, I'm gonna go to the hours, and then I'm gonna go up to 1 hour, and I am going to skip the minutes and crank that baby up to 400. So you just hit the recipe button to kind of lock it all in, and once you've got that locked in, it's going to just follow the steps that you programmed it to do, and that is going to take care of pretty much all the work. Now there is the chance that your chicken is going to get a little bit hotter, a little faster than maybe what you thought. It's happened to all of us before. We're all familiar with, messing up a cook a little bit. So you want to make sure that you're also considering Meat Probe 1, the programmable Meat Probe. That is going to be the grandmaster of the cook. That's going to be the one that if you set it up, it's able to take care of the responsibility and make sure that that chicken, no matter what, doesn't get any hotter than you want it to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit the prime button, the meat probe pops up. In this example, I've got my probe stuck into my chicken breast, and I don't want my chicken breast to reach a temp above 165 degrees. So now I set that, and as it cooks, it's gonna go through the steps, and if at any point in time the chicken breast gets to 165 degrees, it's gonna shut everything down to that 180 degree mark, and it's gonna allow for a perfectly cooked chicken that I have the option to crank up again if I need to. So let's say in this example, it did not make it to the setting where it was gonna go to 400 degrees to crisp up the skin. So all I have to do is just come to the smoker, crank up my temp to 400, and let that cook until I think the chicken skin is where I want it. Usually that's not gonna happen. If you have cooked chickens before and you know how it typically goes, you can set these recipes to match that expectation. And if it does, you can always kind of adjust your recipes a little bit and just continuously get better at setting the recipes and perfecting your cooks. And that's just another great advantage to the pit bulls. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this video. I hope you've learned something. I hope that you've taken something away, and I hope that it makes your cooks easier, better, and more effective. And I hope that I see y'all in the next video.